Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going deep into the world of cell culture.
Ooh, very exciting.
Yeah. Specifically, we're going to be looking at all those supplements that help cells grow when they're, well, not in their natural habitat.
Right.
So if you're like, wait, why are we talking about cell culture? You're in the right place.
Absolutely.
Whether you're working in a lab or just really curious about the science behind it, we're going to break it all down.
You are.
And to help us do that, we're going to be using this super interesting article by Assay Genie.
Okay.
It's called Navigating Cell Culture Supplements.
Fetchy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So get ready to learn about, well, get ready for some serious serum showdown.
Yeah.
We've got fetal bovine serum. We've got horse serum. We're going to look at the pros and cons of each,
Head to head.
head to head, and get into some of the ethical questions around these.
Yeah.
And, of course, the cost, which is a big one for researchers, right?
Food.
Plus, we'll explore why horse serum is, it's kind of like making a comeback these days.
It is. It is.
So to kick things off, can you give us like a quick cell culture 101? Like, why is it so important?
Sure. Cell culture is basically growing cells in a controlled environment outside of their normal, biological home.
Oh, okay.
And it's like a fundamental technique in all sorts of research, from, studying diseases to developing new drugs.
So it's kind of like building a little mini world for those cells to hang out in.
Yeah, exactly. A tiny little world where scientists can watch them, study them, and see how they react to different things.
Okay, that makes sense. So where do the supplements fit into all of this?
Well, just like you and I need, a balanced diet to stay healthy, those cells need a special blend of nutrients and growth factors to thrive in this, artificial environment.
Okay.
And that's exactly what cell culture supplements provide.
Okay, got it. So they're like, I don't know, like a super smoothie for cells.
Yeah, you could say that. A power boost to keep them happy and growing.
Okay, that makes total sense. Now let's talk about the rock star of cell culture supplements, or at least that's how it seems from the article.
Right.
Fetal bovine serum, or FBS. Why is this stuff like the go-to for so many researchers?
Well, FBS is made from the blood of, bovine fetuses.
Okay.
And it just happens to be packed with a ton of growth factors that cells absolutely love.
Oh, okay.
It's almost like it's like giving them a supercharged growth cocktail.
Okay. So it's super effective, but the article also mentioned some, I don't know, some concerns with FBS. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so one of the biggest concerns is consistency.
Oh, okay.
Because even though companies try to standardize the FBS production, there can still be slight variations between different batches.
Oh, right.
And that can mess with the reproducibility of experiments, which is, kind of a big deal in science.
Yeah.
Imagine doing an experiment and not knowing if your results are because of what you're testing or because of the, the FBS itself.
Okay, good point.
It's like trying to bake a cake, but every time you use flour, it's slightly different. You never know how it's going to turn out.
Right. So that's consistency. What about the other thing you mentioned, the cost?
Oh, yeah. FBS can be really expensive, especially if you're doing large-scale experiments. You need a lot of it.
Okay.
It can really strain a lab's budget.
So it sounds like FBS, it works great, but it's got these issues with consistency and cost. Is that part of why researchers are starting to look at other options like horse serum?
Yeah, definitely. Horse serum, which is made from adult horse blood, it's starting to gain popularity for a few reasons.
Like what?
Well, for one, it's generally way more affordable than FBS.
Right.
And in some cases, it can actually outperform FBS, especially with certain types of cells.
Really?
Yeah.
The article didn't go into too much detail about that.
No, but it did mention that horse serum might have a slightly different profile of, growth factors and other stuff that cells like.
Okay.
So it's almost like each serum has its own little secret recipe. Oh, okay.
And sometimes those differences can lead to some pretty interesting results.
That makes sense. But I'm guessing a horse serum, it probably has its own set of challenges, right?
Of course.
Like what?
Well, for one, it can be harder to find than FBS.
Oh, okay. The classic supply and demand issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's the fact that, horse serum might not be compatible with every single cell type. Like some studies have shown that certain human cells, they don't do as well in horse serum.
Ah, so it's all about finding the right tool for the job, basically.
Right.
Okay. Well, this is fascinating stuff, but I'm also curious about, where the whole field of cell culture supplements is headed.
Me too.
Because it sounds like there's some really interesting ethical considerations at play here, too.
Absolutely.
Like, is there a way to, I don't know, to get away from using animal-derived products altogether?
That is a great question.
Well, I guess we'll have to save that for next time.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like we're just getting started.
We are! Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad you're back with us for part 2 of our deep dive into cell culture supplements.
Yes.
So last time we were talking about fetal bovine serum and horse serum.
Right, the heavy hitters.
Yeah. We talked about some of their pros and cons. But as you mentioned, there's a whole other world out there when it comes to cell culture supplements.
There is.
Like stuff that isn't derived from animals, right?
Exactly.
So serum-free media, what exactly is that?
Well, serum-free media are basically, they're specially designed nutrient blends for cells that don't contain any animal serum. So it's kind of like instead of giving your cells a generic multivitamin, you're giving them a really specific cocktail of all the nutrients they need.
Okay, that's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what kind of stuff goes into these serum-free media?
Well, it really depends on the specific type of cells you're trying to grow. But generally, they'll contain, amounts of growth factors, hormones, proteins, and all the other, essential nutrients that cells need.
Got it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like taking the guesswork out of it and just giving the cells exactly what they need, huh?
Yeah, that's the goal, to create a really precise and controlled environment.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So what are some of the advantages of using these serum-free media?
Well, one of the big ones is consistency.
Oh, okay.
Remember how we were talking about how FBS can vary from batch to batch?
Yeah.
Well, with serum-free media, you don't really have that problem.
Okay.
Because the composition is so well defined, you get much more consistent results from experiment to experiment.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And it can also open up possibilities for some really specialized applications, like in regenerative medicine, where researchers are using serum-free media to grow cells for things like, tissue engineering or even organ development.
Wow, okay. So serum-free media sounds pretty amazing.
It has a lot of potential.
But I'm assuming there's some downsides too, right?
Of course.
What are some of the challenges?
Well, one of the biggest ones is complexity. Coming up with the perfect serum-free recipe for a specific cell type, it can be quite a challenge.
I can imagine.
And then there's also the fact that they can be more expensive than traditional serums.
Okay, yeah.
At least initially.
So serum-free, that's one thing.
Right.
The article also mentioned something called xeno-free media.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So xeno-free media are basically serum-free media that take things a step further.
Okay.
They're completely free of any components that are derived from animals.
Oh, okay.
So no FBS, no horse serum, no animal products at all.
Okay, so it's like serum-free, but even more, I don't know, pure.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay.
And this is really important for research involving human cells.
Okay.
Especially when you're talking about things like cell-based therapies.
Oh, right.
Like, if you were going to receive a cell-based treatment,
Right.
you'd probably want to make sure those cells hadn't been exposed to, like, foreign animal components.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
So where are xeno-free media being used right now?
Well, one really cool example is in CAR T cell therapy,
Okay.
which is a pretty revolutionary treatment for certain types of cancer.
Right.
Researchers are using xeno-free media to grow and modify these specialized immune cells before they're given back to the patient.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So we've got serum-free, we've got xeno-free.
Right.
Are there any other alternatives out there that people are looking at?
Well, one area that's getting a lot of attention is the use of plant-based alternatives.
Plant-based?
Yes.
Using stuff from plants to grow cells.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really interesting idea.
So what's the thinking there?
Well, for one, plants are a renewable resource,
Right.
which is, a big deal in terms of sustainability.
Yeah.
And they're also naturally free of things like animal viruses and prions, so there's less risk of contamination.
Okay.
Plus, in some cases, they can actually be more cost-effective than traditional serums.
That's great. So can these plant-based extracts actually do the same job as, FBS or horse serum?
That's the million-dollar question.
Okay.
And it's something that researchers are still trying to figure out.
Mm.
I mean, plant extracts can provide a lot of beneficial nutrients,
Okay.
but they don't always perfectly mimic the composition of animal serums.
Right.
So scientists are really working hard to identify the most effective plant-based formulations
Yeah.
and to find ways to optimize their performance.
I see.
It's a very exciting area of research.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So it seems like the future of cell culture supplements is moving away from animal products
Yeah.
and towards these more ethical and sustainable options.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty safe bet.
That's amazing. Well, this has been a truly fascinating look at the world of cell culture supplements.
It has.
From those, classic serums like FBS and horse serum to all these new and exciting alternatives.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what the future holds.
me too.
Now, I think it's time we wrap things up in part 3.
So,
I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
yeah.
Well, here we are, the final part of our cell culture supplement deep dive.
I know, right?
Yeah,
Time flies when you're talking about cells.
it really does.
Yeah.
But before we say goodbye,
Yeah.
I thought it'd be good to sort of zoom out for a second and think about what does all of this mean for, for the listener?
Absolutely.
Right. If you're someone who's working in a lab, or even if you're just, super interested in research, you've been listening to us talk about FBS and horse serum and all these alternatives.
Yeah.
What are the key takeaways here?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is that, choosing a cell culture supplement isn't as simple as it used to be.
Mm,
It's not just about, grabbing a bottle of FBS and calling it a day.
right. There's a lot more to consider now.
There is.
Like, what are the ethical implications?
Yeah.
What are the costs?
Absolutely.
How consistent is the product?
Right.
What are my specific research needs? It's a lot more nuanced than it used to be.
It is.
And it seems like, the field is constantly evolving,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
which is exciting, but it can also be, a little overwhelming.
Definitely.
So I guess for the listener, as you're thinking about your own research or just, trying to keep up with this field,
Right.
what are some of the key questions that you should be asking yourself?
Well, I think first and foremost, you need to really understand the limitations of FBS.
Mhm.
We talked about the consistency issues, the costs, the ethical concerns.
Right.
So you need to ask yourself, is FBS really the best choice for my work?
Okay.
And if not, are there alternatives that might be a better fit?
Mhm.
Could horse serum be a viable option, or should I be exploring serum-free media or even plant-based alternatives?
Right. And it sounds like, the answer to those questions is going to depend on a lot of factors.
Absolutely. It's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Hmm. Right. Okay. Well, this has been an incredibly fascinating deep dive. And I want to thank you for walking us through all of this.
It's been my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this journey into the world of cell culture supplements.
We hope you learned a lot.
We hope you learned a lot, and we hope you'll keep exploring this fascinating and ever-evolving field.
Absolutely.
And until next time, stay curious.
Yes, stay curious.